Hello everyone, welcome to day 2 of our latest challenge for Ever Ads. In this challenge, I basically show you different ways to structure your meta ad campaigns to reach your goals as a personal brand, online educational creator, or coach. So yesterday on day 1, we talked all about selling your stuff directly, and I walked you through the campaign strategies and setups and creatives and even funnel setups that you can use if you want to directly convert someone, right? So we were very direct response, and I walked you through the strategies that work for low as well as for high ticket in there. If you have not had a chance to check it out, you can watch the replay here on my YouTube channel under the live tab. And I'm probably going to leave it up till after the weekend. After that, it's going to be available for my Grow with Evelyn members on an ongoing basis. This perfectly complements actually what we are doing here in the Ads to Set course for personal brands. So this is basically just showing you the implementation of it, adding more context. So this is where this fits right in here inside of Grow with Evelyn. And then we're also going to leave it up a little bit longer in Ever Ads for everyone, so you can get the most out of the feature. And then there will be some bonus resources and templates from the challenge that will be exclusively available for the members here that are in premium, right? And so if you're watching from one of my free groups, you'll definitely have the weekend to catch up. After that, it's going somewhere in one of my paid communities, right? So Grow with Evelyn is always a good starting point. And if you want to use the software, you can use Ever Ads. However, everything I share with you also is doable without the software, right? It's just showing you a quicker way and how I actually work, because I use Ever Ads for everything from my community to all of the work that I do for my clients. All right, so yesterday, like I said, we covered selling something right now, and that always is the first hypothesis that I like to make, and it's also the first thing that I recommend to people, right? So try to validate what you have to offer and try to sell it as directly as possible. Then use the exposure that you're getting from the ads to grow your personal brand in reverse organic. This is how I've been able to grow. When I got into online education, I did have my ad agency, and I built funnels for people and all of the goodness, and I had no personal brand whatsoever. In the early stages of my online education business, I had more paying members in my membership at one point than I had followers on Instagram. And that's the power of validating your offer directly with ads and then growing in reverse organic. You can be paid early, know exactly what you want to offer first and next, let the ads and the market guide you, and then build your personal brand fairly narrow, fairly niche around that, so that also all of the content you're creating for your personal brand becomes advertisement assets, and both of them work synergetically really, really well together. Alex said, he revealed that he actually started to build his personal brand so he can get a discount on his ads, right? And so I do recommend for everyone to build their personal brand, but I also know that it's hard for people to keep creating content consistently if they're not clear about the direction. This is why I like to validate first with what is actually selling, and then you start to plug in the content around that. And the beautiful thing about this is that when you run ads, people on Meta, you're running ads on Instagram and Facebook and in the audience network. Now, when people see your ads on Instagram, on Threads, on Facebook, they typically will click through to your profile. And if you have content there, it is very likely that they'll drop you a follow. So my following has basically really just grown on the back of my ads, and I've started to be more consistent with content recently this year, beginning of this year, because I understand the arbitrage, right, and have to eventually get into it to keep growing. Currently, I am a little bit plateauing at around 80,000 a month, right? And so for me, in order to take that next step in my growth journey, I know I have to also plug in the personal brand foundation. However, ads allowed me to get to that point where I can afford pouring into the production and into creating those things for my personal brand. So if you go a little bit back here, you'll start to see soon that it's very, very shaky with the content. But this is what's working really, really well right now, and what you also want to basically plug in reverse organic. Now, a lot of us don't have the luxury that they already have an idea as in what to sell. So typically I recommend people start here And then once they know what's selling, they start to plug in first YouTube content, then Instagram content, right? So that's going to be getting you the most out of your ad spend for your brand growth, but then also lift your ads because you're building in that trust. Now, some people are stuck where they just can't get anything to click here. And the reason why they can't get anything to click here is because they're way too far detached from their audience and what the market wants. So for those people that have absolutely zero audience and zero idea as in what they could offer, or that kind of keep failing with it, I do recommend to start building a minimum viable audience first to actually find the offer that has product to market fit in here faster, right? So for some people, it makes 100% sense to take a step back and to build a first foundation for their personal brand. I want to talk about this in a second. Just quickly want to see who's tuned in. Hi, Tara. How's it going? Oh, hi, Jack. Good morning. So for those of you that, keep failing here with the community validation ads for paid community, right? Or that just can't get a mini offer to convert, or a tripwire funnel. You can't sell with a video sales letter. So you just don't know what product to offer. If you kind of stuck at that barrier, it is worth taking a step back and investing in some audience growth first, so you can actually interact with, engage with people, build first proof around yourself, right? So, and position yourself as a, I don't like authority figure because it would imply that we have it all figured out, but I would say establish yourself as the role model, as the leader in that space, right? Even if you just lead from I recommend that actually, you lead from a place of, I'm just figuring it out. I'm one of you, but I'm the most committed to this journey and I'm walking the talk, right? So even if it's just that, if you have gathered people around you that witness your journey, that can start to ask questions, you will have a much higher likelihood of hitting something here. So if you've been stuck at this point, you need to take a step back and you need to start looking into building your audience. Now, there's a few different ways to build your audience. The cheapest ways to build your audience are to build a community or email list. And then the next more expensive way after that would be to grow an actual following on Instagram and then also on YouTube. So I'm going to walk you through how I like to think this through. I used to always lead with building the email list. So I used to have a strategic freebie, filtering for the ideal client, get people on my list. From there, lead them to a discovery call and to a free community. That used to be my go-to audience growth mechanism that has worked really, really well for a long time. That was up until about a year ago, where people started to use more and more agents in their inboxes. Also, Google and all email providers got a lot more strict with deliverability. And so the effectiveness of email really declined. And I'm actually shocked saying this because email has been my most profitable channel for my business for all of the time, and it only has not been this year anymore. So I heavily actually started to deprioritize it because I would just not keep getting the results I used to get with email, despite being consistent with emailing and also sending people to valuable things. It just declined how people are responding to it, right? And so what I found, what works a little bit better, is to actually lead with a free community that I treat like an email list plus, and then from there also getting people on the email list and basically doing both. So I believe if you're just starting out and you have no audience and you also are not savvy with email marketing, you don't know how to set up your DKIM and all of the shebang, just go with a community, free or ideally freemium, and treat that as your email list. So that will be for if you're complete beginner or if you're completely stuck and you need to reset, use the free community, right? And use that as your email list. Because on Skool, what we can do is we can basically email people every 72 hours. And I have actually 2 email lists on Skool. One is my free Skool Growth Training Hub. So I treat this literally like an email list. And then I also have one that is kind of going into AI for online educators. I also treat this like an email list. Every 72 hours, I can push a post here. And then you can decide if you want to have your email list, for example, completely free, right? So I don't have any tiers here. Or if you want to have it as an email list that partially funds itself, like for example, here I do have a premium tier to my email list, which basically just gives access to courses in the classroom, right? So there's no access to me, it's just to the resources in the classroom. And I did have a VIP for a monthly one-to-one session up until it was filled. And now I have 5 people in there. And if somebody cancels, I can raise the price and I can backfill it, right? So that is a way to basically have your email list and its growth paying for itself. So I really, really love setting it up as a freemium. Okay, now a few different things that I want you to consider, right? So first off, here with having just a free community and using that as your main audience growth tool, I do recommend, and I'm actually will change this to being not a free but a freemium community. So probably what I'm going to do here is in the pricing, going to change this from free to freemium, and then optimize for purchase here to also be able to tap into Growth Boost with this free community. So we first focused on the paid communities, which I think everybody noticed. And now we start to also roll into the freemium communities. Eventually we'll also get to the free ones, right? Once everything is figured out. Free communities still do get a lot of traffic from school. But what I'm saying is like specifically forcing a lot of ad budget on it. So I like having that arbitrage opportunity with Growth Boost now. So I'm probably also going to turn this into a free freemium community. So that's the first tip that I can give is if you're a complete beginner, I would choose school. I would turn that into my email list, and I would not set it up as purely free. I would make it a freemium. The easiest way to pre-sell a freemium without having any resources created is either make it an appreciation membership, which is anyone in my appreciation tier? No, right? Because I've also not had it toggled on. But what I would probably do instead of making it an appreciation membership is I would say secret monthly school growth training. Okay, and if you have, and I would just edit that. And then if you already have anything created, you can also put that here. So then I would also add maybe school brand kits plus about page templates. And then maybe one more thing, school positioning challenge self-study, right? So again, I would try to give one training that I can deliver live. Then I would try to give some tangible resources, right? If you're in Growth Evelyn or in the AI Club, artifacts, Claude artifacts, digital products, basically, right? Templates. And then ideally one valuable like mini course, workshop replay. This should have educational character, establishing a shared journey. So that's how I would go about switching from free to freemium, and I would make that switch to have more chances of getting Growth Boost. And then what you can also do is you can decide whether or not you actually want to optimize for it as a paid community or as a free community. So it gives you two options, because on Meta, when you take one or the other, Meta will get you in front of a different buyer. So one or of a different customer. One will need longer time to be nurtured to eventually buy something or might never. The other one, when we're going for paid, is very, very close to purchase and typically has a shorter time period of being nurtured. And you can, in Everads, because it's really, really simple, just set up both campaigns and have them run against each other. So we're going to do that in a second. I just quickly want to check if you guys have any questions about that. I love that you're using school as an email list. So clever. It is so good also because of the deliverability, right? And what I also recommend is you don't only want to use it as an email list, you also want to use it as a blog and basically your website. So what's really cool about my free community here is I have a few tips for you about using it as an email list and in a way that it doesn't cannibalize your other communities. Okay, so few tips here. First one is that you see it actually does get quite a bit of traffic direct and from Google. I do not send any emails or anything here to the free community. So this traffic is mostly coming from the fact that I have my community here set to public. So anyone can see what's inside, but only members can post, right? And what it does is it helps you get picked up by AI. So all of the things here and in a classroom, they get indexed. And I come up a lot in Google search with this community and the content that's inside. And basically what I also do is I just repurpose all of my YouTube videos that are about school specifically, because I also have a lot of stuff about just ads for personal brands in general. And I also document the growth of, for example, Everat SaaS, right? So I don't put that necessarily in the classroom, but everything about school growth gets into the classroom, and I just take the transcript and NotebookLM's blog post function to add a blog post here. So that's a lot of content that all gets indexed, and it helps me with discoverability, right? So I don't only treat it just like an email list, but also like a blog. And in order to have it not cannibalize my other communities, I actually prevent it from being a full-on community by making the categories, there's only admin and help. And then you can see only I can post. So people cannot make posts inside this community because this is really like my email list plus, right? And instead they can just respond to the things that I post. So it's really like a broadcasting channel. And with that, it reduces proximity to me, and it creates a clearer differentiation between the free and paid community. So that's definitely something that I highly recommend here. All right, so now let's use EverAds to set up the ads to grow this free community, right? So in order to grow our audience here, now we have set it to freemium. So let's save it. And now what we need to do is, if you then want to adjust this, I just view it here as a member, you then just need to set up a classroom. And then this one here, I can now edit it. So I stop viewing it as a member. I'll pull it up here. And now I can say buy it now or get it with premium, right? So now this is me fulfilling on the promise that I made. And so I would just put that right away here. And then a lot of people also don't know you can easily transfer a course from one place to another by, say, share course key. And now all I have to do is come into the free community. And then I say import with course key. Now I need to stop sharing my screen, otherwise you see my course key and then everybody can steal it. Because we're on YouTube, right? If this was in Grow with Evelyn or in any of my communities, I would not hesitate, but it's on YouTube, so we don't know who's around. Okay, and now it says importing it, got it. And then you can just refresh and now it will be here. Now I edit the course, and now I can also make this a buy now. So maybe I can make this a little bit more expensive. I think this is worth 97. I think it's worth more because of the strategy you learned there. And then I put it to publish. And now we also can put this up here. Now we can view it as a member, right? So now you see this, or unlock it with premium. Okay, so that's, now we're prepared basically for the traffic to start filling this up. Now, what do we need to do next? We need to next make our ad creative. Now, the good thing is I've completely neglected this group. So we don't have any ad creative here. What I want to do is I still want to use that as my ad creative, but I also want to potentially give it a different kind of look and feel. So we're going to go to Ever Ads, and we basically are going to go through the process. We first need to set up the offer. And the free community is an offer just like any other. Free School Growth Hub. I'm just going to import this from the URL. Continue to personas. Inspiring, yes. Yes. All of these are correct. I don't want the passive income seekers, and I don't think the digital marketers are for me. So still, what I'm doing here is I'm preparing the banner, because we still always start with the banner. That's why, or that's just the path to go, is first validating the banner, and then we can start to advertise the things that are inside. So now we continue to copy. Here, I would again just use my about page copy. And then we are going to upload. And I'm just gonna, I actually really like the neutral branding, so maybe I'm just gonna go with that. And I need a reference, so maybe I can do this one this time. Face identity and visual style, lighting, clothing. And this one we're gonna remove. Free to join. And let's do the stacked element, center stack. Let's just see. If you're new to school and don't know where to start, get my free trainings. Or I would say get all my free trainings in one place. That's kind of the key value proposition of that community. Get all free training to X school games winner. Okay. I like this. Okay. And this is just to have a first batch, because ultimately I first want to run the banners, but when I set it up and I go through the full process, I just want to secure the nicest graphics anyways. Okay, so now I can come to the communities and I can create a new community. And I want to use an existing offer, which is the new Free School Growth Hub. And first thing we always have to do is create the callouts. I like maybe number one, free growth community. Let's see. I generate banners from scratch. Let me see if we had some ads coming through here that I can use as the branding for it. I like this. Kind of like this too. Okay. So I'm going to use that as the visual style. This is the visual style then, and also the color palette. And then this one here is going to be the face identity. And clothing, continue. Now this is free to join. And we have 9,000 members, I think, in here. Yeah. 9K members. Okay, here I like to just experiment with as many as I can. I don't want to do the giant word mark because I want it to pay into my personal brand. So now, school. I would say evidence-wise, free school growth community, free school growth resource hub. Skip the treasure hunt, get all my free school resources in one place. School growth, free school growth resources and training for coaches and educational creators. School training tools and resources for community builders. I just want to put my name there as well. Free school training tools and resources. Join inside this free school growth resource hub by Evidence. Okay. And then I will create this, and then we're gonna have a banner for the community. And we can put there. You can drop your question. If I have at all time, I will answer it. Hi, good morning. Hi, Amanda. Nice to see you. I will send you the calendar link. Maybe I do just free, not freemium then. I think free for you. Sorry, because I'm going to change my community from freemium to paid tiers, would you recommend having another community for my email list? I love the idea of having a free community, just not sure. I like it, and I like to, have it separate and just turn that really into an email list plus, where you also have the tools in there, and maybe like some secret bonus training, something that you can then later on leverage as like limited time bonus, etc. But there's not too much access to you. So I think if you want to have a school email list, which I think is, it's so brilliant. People are not understanding how powerful it is, because I think they've done too little email marketing to understand how powerful it is. Then you need to make sure that it does not offer the same proximity to you as your community. So it needs to very clearly just be like your resource hub. So where they can get, where it's your broadcast versus your conversation, right? It's you broadcasting versus you actually engaging with them, being there with them, and helping out and really being present. The other one, they should also feel that you're not always present, if that makes sense. That's why you don't necessarily help out in the comments, etc., because otherwise there's no clear like differentiation in them. What happens if someone buys a product in a free group but then joins your paid group, which includes the course you just sold for $97? How do you avoid the feeling of paying twice? So if somebody bought it and then later on they joined, so first off, I'm very, very transparent about it, that it's free inside of Grow with Evelyn. So you want to check this out here. Oh, thank you for making me aware. That's actually the change that I need to make here to avoid what you just described. So you can see $97 or free inside of Grow with Evelyn, because then people see, they unlock it for $97 or when they upgrade to premium, but they also see that it's free inside of Grow with Evelyn. So it's like at the moment you purchase, you knew that you can get it for free over there. So then it's kind of on you, right? Because it's all there. It's helpful to have an annual premium tier in my free group where you can buy individual courses for a small fee, which gives access to everything in there. Paid group has all those courses plus much more active support. That's the main value they are paying for. I love that. Thank you for sharing. That makes sense. Yeah, I like it. That also makes a lot of sense. Or free inside. But it's when people click Grow with Evelyn, they see it, right? But yeah, I like the wording. Or free with trial inside of Grow with Evelyn. I really like it. That's a really good wording here. Makes it even more clear. Good call. All right, so let's see our banners then. I like this. I'm always like the whimsical stuff. I really like this one. Okay. Nice. So I think we have what I need. Now we are going to create our campaign. So I'm just going to select the ones that I like. I like this one. I like this one. I like this one. I like this one. I think this is really cute. I might need this for the... Okay. Now we want to create the meta campaign. And I'll just start. I can start with either or, right? Because I also want to test how they compare, what my costs are. But I'm just going to start with the free one here and use this template. I'm validating. I'm taking the tier 1 countries. And I'm going to grab the about page. And this is the free one. Perfect. And now I just need my copy here. Set the copy for all ads. It's 10 million, guys, which is pretty cool. And I think it's 73 now. I need to check my latest numbers. Yeah, 73. Generating the headline variations. And then we can also have the description, just for more context from Meta. And we're applying it to every ad. And then we can go continue to publish, and I like ready to launch. So that's how we can grow the freemium community. Now, what we also want to do is we want to split test, right? What works better. So we're also going to go here again, and we're going to select these. Okay. Create the campaign, and now I'm going to go just with the paid community setup, and you'll see I'm changing nothing else. I'm going to do this a little bit lower with just 15 a day. So it gets 30. I want this to be 15 a day, so I need to do 7.5. But here I'm just going to do purchase. And add the copy. I think I selected more here. That's fine. So I just need to quickly fix the numbers here to what they are right now. Okay, and we're applying it to every ad. And now I'm going to publish it. So both are coming through in my ads manager now. And let's see if we have some sales already from the campaigns we launched yesterday. So we do have some here. We got 3 purchases total. Let's check them out. Okay, so, okay, interesting. Low ticket school. Very, very interesting. So I might need to do more banners for low ticket school for Grow with Evelyn. I had the hunch already that the darker colors come through, so I rebranded it. This is interesting to see. So I just have to take a note of that and make more banners in that way. And then we have a story. Remember we did the long form direct response with the lifestyle image? That also already got a sale. Now we have the new campaigns coming through. Both should actually be uploaded now. Perfect. And all I need to do is just check. And you can see the difference in those. One optimizes for complete registration, one optimizes for purchase. And this will massively determine the quality of the person that comes in. Typically, it's much higher with purchase. So I'm just going to check here if these are set up correctly. Just clicking one time through. Yes, wonderful. And then we can turn it on. Awesome. All right, so this is when we are growing our audience and email list basically with school. Now, what are our alternatives that we have? The next one would be to just purely grow an email list, and I'm going to share that in a second with you. Before that, I quickly want to check in to see if you're all okay. Love the dark banners. Yeah, they also just pop. I definitely still have some work on my banners to do. The one was converting really well for a while, and then it just stopped converting. So I think there was probably like a pocket in the market of people that really resonated with that messaging. But it's normal also to have to keep doing it. I want to get to the point where I just have a weekly cadence to see if my banner is still the best one. Right now, it's like 2-ish weeks whenever I test it. Love it. Okay. Hi there. Thank you for tuning in. All right, so everybody clear on the free freemium community to build the audience, right? So we want to do that. And as soon as we see it converts, etc., we want to make a decision, right? So now a lot of people, or basically almost everyone, wants to make their community paid because of Growth Boost. But sometimes it might not make sense. If you're doing low to high ticket, if you are going with a paid community, you might just unnecessarily constrain your front end, right? So I would actually not recommend everybody switching to a paid community, because I would particularly not recommend the people who are doing a high ticket offer switching to a paid community, because you're unnecessarily constraining your front end. You can do what I did here, which is make a premium tier that has some done for you resources, maybe a monthly workshop with you, which you can also use as a conversion event. And then you can test if you get higher lead quality, if you're optimizing for the purchase, for the premium, and if you're able to offset some of your audience growth cost. That would be my strategy if I was to sell high ticket, right? Which is also something I help lots of schools with. So if you are now switching to a paid community because you want to leverage Growth Boost, you're just constraining yourself. So I wouldn't do that. I would really, really nail this and run my ads with the freemium community. You can really get members in quite affordably, and you're able to offset some of the cost, as you can see here too, right? So, and this was even before the new option launched that you can optimize for purchase on freemium. So you are definitely with the right offer, with testing and tweaking and upselling in the community, you should be able to get it to a point where basically the monthly recurring revenue of the premium tier funds all of your community growth, and it just pays for it. So you always have fresh lead flow into your high ticket program. So if you're doing high ticket, stay free, play with freemium, do what I just did. If you're low ticket, you can still add a free community like I just showed. There is really a resource hub and it's constrained in posting as an email list if you want to further grow your audience. And I do actually, I know, Tara, you teach Instagram and you are on Instagram, and I think it's so smart that you're going to pull some of the audience closer into your orbit, right? So that's really, really smart. I think if you can at all afford it and you do have the capacity, I would do that even if I have just a low ticket community. And then the low ticket community is what you want to make paid and where you want to play with the banners in the way I taught you in the positioning challenge, as well as yesterday on the selling directly. So not everybody should go paid if you're having a high ticket. I think freemium is your answer. Otherwise, you're unnecessarily constraining yourself. So, okay, super. I'm really, really glad to hear that. I just started an ad campaign using EverAds. Amazed how easy and quick it was to set up. Thank you so much for sharing. Yes, and that's just because we're reducing the friction. We'll just test more ads, and the more ads we test, the closer we are to the positioning we actually need, and the more we grow. So that's the whole goal, is really to just remove this friction of uploading and of creation. All right, so I hope that the community first strategy is clear. High ticket is for me everything $9.97 plus, right? Or even if you have, so what we see working is everything up to $2.97 a month can function with the direct sales. After that, if it's recurring, I treat it like a high ticket, and I would try to work with the freemium or with a conversion event, which is also what we're going to cover now. Okay, so beyond the community first audience growth strategy, and also something important to mention, because a lot of people don't know that you can do this, when you have people requesting to join your community, you can use a plugin in here, Zapier, and you can zap people into your email autoresponder. So if you are already using email marketing, if you have an email marketing automation tool like MailerLite or ActiveCampaign or Flowdesk, you can zap community members in there, and you can double control your audience by also having the email list and having the opportunity to, in addition, email the members. Depending on where you are in the world, you might need to make sure that there's a double opt-in. So, people are actually confirming that you can email them. You want to check for GDPR or whatever whatever regulations are in effect in your country. But it is an option to do it. I personally just found that my emails and the email list is not performing as well. So for me, I don't even bother, because the SAP costs and the email autoresponders are really expensive. I paid $7,000 for ActiveCampaign last year, and I think it's getting to a point where I'm not even sure if I make the money back, but it's all of the effort, instead of just pouring it all in the community, I'm not sure if it's like super worth it for everyone right at the beginning. But you do have the option, right? You do have the option to directly integrate and then have them in your email tool as well. But if you don't have the capacity to send emails regularly and segment your list and take care of your list health, etc., you might just have another thing that creates cost and friction in your business. So be really mindful about what you actually need in your business. And this is also something I learned from Sam. He's like a minimalist. He will put all of his focus in where it's needed right now, take 100% of care of it, have the system built, and then only move on to the next thing. And what I've seen in my past self, and where I catch myself, is I want to do everything perfect, right? And also adding them to an email tool and also taking care of them is doing it perfect kind of in my head, because I do the most of what's possible, right? I maximize it. But with that, I also create friction, because now my priorities get diluted, right? And what I find is like, typically you have a few points, a few buttons you can push, and you want to apply the maximum force and pressure on those buttons and push them to the maximum, instead of doing everything you should be doing as good as you can, right? You're diluting your force. That's something that I've really come to learn and to understand. And now I'm much more kind of focused as in where I'm applying my force and my focus. So just something for you to consider. If you want to do email marketing, you need to do it properly. We have a beautiful course by Julia. She's really an expert. She has also helped me a lot with email marketing as things, got a lot more complicated. Like she teaches all of the things like mastering SPF, DNS entries, understanding DKIM essentials. Like if you want to do email marketing, you got to do email marketing like properly. Okay. Then start with the masterclass and then commit to doing it properly. If you're like, no, I have a construction place here and a construction place there, just do the school thing, right? And again, it's a little bit crazy of me saying this because email has made such a big difference, but I'm specifically saying this to the people that don't have a lot of things working right now. You gotta focus on something, make that work before you introduce another layer. Okay, but if you already have email and you don't want to create another community, but you do have to grow your audience, then you want to go with this audience growing opportunity where you're building your email list with a lead magnet. So if you've watched yesterday, we created a lead magnet yesterday. So what we can now do is we can just use the very same ads that we have created yesterday for our email list growth. And we can actually also use that in our community. So maybe before I go to the email, let me just show you how we can run ads to the community using a freebie, right? So I'm having the free community again, and I'm going back to yesterday. We created a lead magnet, right? So now what I need to do first is I need to drop it actually in the community, and I need to say, who wants a copy of my want my proven about page banner copy formulas? I've created them based on what I've seen working in Growth Boost and the trending discovery. Drop on me below and I'll send it over to you. Actually, do I want this? Click the link or I would say drop a comment. Comment me below and I'll send you a copy over ASAP. There's an integration that I haven't checked out yet, but Mark and Jack, who have co-created this with me, they have SchoolKit, and I believe because I'm a premium member, I should have auto DMs. So I need to check if I have this responder or not. Anyway, it's really, really good to do this, to get in contact and in an inbox with people and send them directly, and to also boost the community engagement. So I'm going to select my favorite mockup of what we created yesterday, and then I'm gonna drop it below. I really like this. Yeah, I like this. It's very productized. Oh, this is Growth Evelyn. Sorry, this needs to be in the free community. Then we should start to see the comments come in. Okay, so I can pin this here as well. And now when somebody joins from the ads, they're going to comment and I'm going to send it over, ideally with the automated integration. So nice. Now we see this coming in. And while people are commenting, right, and it starts to fill up, and later on I'm going to go through and reply to them and set up the automation, I can now start running my ads to this as well, because now it lives in there. So we have don't waste time on school banner callouts. I really love this one. I love all of them, like a lot. Okay. On a freebie, I don't do too many. So I'm just doing 11 here. And then I'm going to promote the, again, I could do it with free or with paid community here. Let me always try the paid first. Then I'm just going to put this here. Continue. Gotta close this, otherwise I'm going to confuse things. And this is purchase. Add copy. And then here, set copy for all ads. We're just going to use the main copy, but we're just going to say, get this free resource now when joining my free school growth resource hub plus, right? And then it's just, again, our about page copy. We don't want to mess around too much with the copy. It's not the lever that people think it is anymore, except if it's long form direct response. So except if you really are doing a copy first ad, which is part of scaling, not part of validation. Okay. These are fine. I would just here probably make it get proven about page copy, about page banner callouts. I didn't do the description here. Let me see if I can still do it. Yes, I should. And then apply to every ad. And I can just publish it. And you can do the same with the free campaign, right? Maybe I'll set it up so we can also look at the results. So we will just do the same again here on the free campaign. I actually want to try optimizing for paid because I don't want to flood the community. Now that's basically the ad if you want to run a free resource. Now let's do it to build the email list. In order to build the email list, we again want to start from that point, right? We're gonna select the templates we like the most here for the free resource. I'm not gonna run this, so I'm not gonna select too many. Like I said, it's not my focus right now to grow my audience. I'm creating the meta campaign, build my email list, use this template. And now we want to start between 5 to 15 euros, right? So dollars, Canadian dollars, US dollars. Now we want to either select or create an instant form. Now you probably have not ever set up an instant form, so we need to do it now together for this new resource. So it's going to be a new form, and we're going to call it banner callout templates. And we're going to go for more volume. Here, sharing versus restricted. Select who can submit and share this form. Open forms can help you reach more people. Open, so it can be shared to other people if people like the resource. And then we have flexible delivery, allow Meta to adjust or remove form elements based on where people are likely to respond. Optimized, I like to use that. Next up, we have the greetings. I do like to remove the greetings. And then here, I usually only ask for the email and say, what's the best email to send your free resource, or to send you the free banner templates. And I usually will run it through ChatGPT, right? Then I will say next. Privacy policy, that's another downside, right? Going off of school, you need to have a privacy policy for these things. And that needs to be properly written. Otherwise, you're opening up yourself to legal risk. So you want to double check the about page, your privacy policy on your website. And then you want to grab it and add it here. For me, every time I do this, it's like there's so much friction, right, with this involved. Since I'm on school, I'm like, I can't believe we used to have to do all of this, right? And then next we have this thank you screen. And here on the thank you screen, you can already guide them somewhere. You can send them to a free community. You can send them to book a discovery call. You can send them to an offer, to a mini offer. You can send them to a free training from where you upsell them, a VSL landing page. So here you can just say, go to website. You can put a link and you can put any call to action that you want. Join free community. You can say, buy the $7 about page glow up course, right? So you can send them wherever you want from this thank you screen, which can be really, really powerful. But I also want to kind of make you aware of the constraints here, because you're optimizing for leads. If you directly try to send them to purchase something, you'll have very little take-up rate, right? If you're doing it to a call or to a free community, it can sometimes be higher, but this is not magical. It's powerful, but it's not magical. And you can also put a tracking link here. So you can use link shortener, like for example, Bitly, and you can create shortened links where you can then see how many people have clicked it. That gives you an idea of, how many people have taken the action from your freebie. And with that, see how qualifying, how good the resource is as well. Okay, so let's send them to the free community. Why not? Here, and then you can now create the form. Okay, now your form is here. And with that, you should be able to pull it in here. Now, if it doesn't refresh, you're also able to enter the form ID manually, which you get when you click on this. You copy it over. Now it's there, right? It just needed to refresh. Now you're selecting again your markets, and now you can create your campaign. And we have our resources selected. And now here, we need to write basically a copy for our free resource. And I do recommend that you're using this video from my channel. You have that in Grow with Evelyn as well. But for those of you that are watching that are not inside, there is a video about why you're getting so bad leads from these ads and how to improve it. Okay, so what we want to say is, I want to come to Claude and say, write my ad copy for the graphic I attach, taking all of the best practices from this video into consideration. Also, maybe a good input for you when you want to approach things in a way that I recommend, you can always take a transcript of my video and use that for context for the AI as well. So now I'm just again picking my favorite creative here as an example. We already downloaded it, so I just need to pull it in here. And then it should write a copy for us that is a great filter and gets us the right people into the door. You set up your school community, but your banner headline still says something like, welcome to my community. And deep down, you know, that's why people land on your about page and leave without joining. I would say, don't give a specific example of what they could have on the banner. Just say they know it's not clear enough. Okay, you set up your school community, but every time you look at your banner headline, you know it's not clear enough, and deep down, you know that's why people land on your about page and leave without joining. Perfect. And then then I would just say here, get instant, fix your discoverability and conversion rate now using these proven banner callout formulas. Who created them, and then your personal brand proof stack, basically. Then click the link if you are ready to get serious about your school growth, right? So with that, it's filtering. It's very, very clear who it's for, and it also builds up anticipation. One more thing, if I wanted to prime them and say, this is just one of many growth tools and resources I use inside of my $7 Grow with Evelyn community to help schoolers like you grow. Now I planted the seed. Faster. And then I can say, click the link if you're serious, right? So that's a good example for how we want to filter and then introduce our solution and who we are. And then how we want to seed that we have a paid offer, and then just filter one more time through. Okay, so now I'm just going to put this as the copy for all ads. And then we are just going to say free school banner callout templates. Generate the variations here. Apply to every ad. Continue to the review. And then publish this to our account. What we still need to do is the leads will now come into Meta. You still need to connect the leads coming into Meta with your email autoresponder. And for that, again, you need to use a tool called Zapier. And so what you can do is, based on what tool you have, you just want to say Zapier Facebook lead ads to MailerLite, for example. And then you see it's Facebook lead ads, right? And then MailerLite. And now you can say integrate, and you take the steps from there. So I've also I think in that video, there's a free training on how to set this up. We also have it in Grow with Evelyn. So that's another step that you would have to do in here, which for every lead form, you will have to do that. So this is, and then also what you'd have to do next is you need to set up a delivery automation in your email tool, right? So now you have the ad, it advertises your freebie, you get the leads, you need to zap them from Meta into your email autoresponder, may that be MailerLite or Flowdesk or Go High Level. Go High Level is direct integration, then it's different again. And then from there, you also need to set up a delivery automation. So you need to set up a group or a list, and then say everybody who comes basically from the integration gets added to the group or list. And then you need to set up an automation, say when somebody gets added to this group or list or gets added this tag, then start the automation and send them an email that then gives them access to the resource. And then you can start your welcome sequence and sell something to them and start warming them up. So it's a much longer process as compared to just getting them again into the community. And because email is less effective now, I personally am not focused on it anymore at the moment. What I still do is, because when people are coming in here, they often also are very, very cold. They just opted in for the resource. Even if you applied a lot of filtering, etc., it's still a very long path to nurture them down all the way to the sales. Because also one thing to consider is that, we just come in here to explain this to you. When you're having the free or freemium community, in Meta, it's always a sales campaign objective. When you're having a sales campaign objective, you are finding people likely to purchase your product or service. When you have a free or freemium community, this setup here as well, this here, it's also a sales campaign. And the only difference here between these two is that one goes after purchase and the other one goes after complete registration. Complete registration is just a tiny bit further up the funnel. So when you are building your audience like this, you're still getting people very, very close to the sale. Even if you have the optimization event of complete registration, you're still getting a higher quality lead. You're getting particularly high quality when you're optimizing for purchase, then you get kind of the top-notch leads, right? They're also a little bit more expensive, but if you have the premium tier, you can offset some of the cost if it's attractive enough, right? But you're basically getting into the best bucket of the audience. It's like you're putting your advertisement in, the rich people street where everybody has money and is ready to buy, versus when you are using the leads campaign objective, you're further up the funnel, right? And here you have people that are leads for your business, but they're not as close to the sale. So you need to do a lot more nurturing. And when they're especially coming from a free resource, right, they can go cold extremely quickly, especially if they don't check their email often, etc., which now is more and more the case because we're not getting through the spam filters as much. And people are also really worn out from email. And a lot of people just use AI agents to manage their emails, which is why when I use the lead form, I typically advertise a free training. The advantage of that is that it's higher intentional. People are signing up to spend time with me, and then I immediately get them into a replay of the last training and nurture them towards the upcoming training, and I convert from the training in a live event. So what I'm basically doing is I'm optimizing for time spent with me as fast as possible, and that does work. So especially for people who have a community in, the higher range, so let's say 97 plus, you might need to go with a conversion event like this, a workshop like this from where you sell, in order to sell really well. So that does work, right? But you still have to go through the full integration. If you are in Grow with Evelyn, you have a full crash course on how to do this in here, the Almost Evergreen crash course. It basically gives you that full strategy for how to use that lead event and turn it into a conversion event and then convert really, really fast from there, as fast as possible. This has been a very successful strategy, and this also still works. It is often a go-to recommendation for me for people who have the community. There's just a little bit higher price and they can't convert directly from Meta Ads. And then there's a version of this where you are not going through the lead form, but you're just going through a landing page because, for example, you want to pitch something right after, or you want to get them on a call. So this is, in this case, that objective. There's so much kind of nuance in these two involved that if there's enough interest, I would rather do like a live challenge around this again. And if we're not doing this, I highly recommend you check out the Almost Evergreen crash course before you're getting into this, because it's basically a full-on funnel strategy. Like I said, it can be very, very effective, but you have to understand how all of the pieces fit together, right? And there's even a deeper course. I tried, it's 2 hours and 20 minutes. I try to give you everything about the strategy, but if you are a VIP member, you also have the access to the full course, which is the workshop sales system. And I really would like you to fully work it. I mean, you can see, I hope you can see how much nuance goes into making this work. All right, so I have a few more minutes. I'm gonna drop my questions in a second. Just give me one moment and I'll be right back. Okay, so I think we covered this extensively. I'm going to show you one more strategy for audience growth that we've unfortunately not been able to bake into EverAds yet because of how the flow is in Ads Manager. So if you are not growing on Skool and you're not growing your email list, may that be for a freebie or for a live event, what you basically have as another option is to grow your Instagram and turn that into a funnel. Inside of Grow with Evelyn, we have this training here, which is self-hosted strategy, Instagram growth funnel. So that is this strategy here. And we're not doing this with EverAds yet. But basically what you're doing is you're selecting a traffic campaign, manual, and you are calling it IG growth campaign. You can give it the campaign budget. I like to do 10 euros a day. You can also go a little bit harder. And then you want to select here under the conversion location, Facebook or Instagram. Only leave your Instagram profile on. And then you also want to adjust the placements to manual placements. And you don't want Facebook. You only want Instagram. And you don't want to allow spending outside. And then next, you want to pull in your best performing Instagram content. So as you can see here, for example, this was a really good one for me. Also, these recent ones were really good. And so I can pull all of them into my ads manager as an ad. So instead of saying creating ad, I say use existing post, select, and then you can see these are my trial reels. This is one of the latest ones that's been published, so I'm going to use this. Oh, I need to add a beneficiary here. And then all I have to do is basically publish this. And then I duplicate it and I pull the next ad in. And what this does is it redirects people to your Instagram profile. And for a lot of people, they have their school link in the profile, right? So a lot of people are joining from there, but also a lot of people are DMing their new followers and say, hi, thank you so much for the follow. What are you working on? And they start a conversation, and then you can sell your school or a call high ticket offer directly from the DMs. Can be extremely profitable because you're getting such a good arbitrage on the campaign objective. For me personally, it is a little bit much work, and I'm trying to automate it better. But if you're selling a high ticket, this absolutely crushes. So that's another way to grow your audience in a way that is really, really fast. Now, the only thing is that I would then recommend that as much as possible, all of your ads have, all of your organic pieces of content have a ManyChat integration where you prompt them to DM your keyword and then you send them the resource. And when you do this in ManyChat, you're asking them for their email. And you also try to get them off platform by prompting them to join your community. Because remember, on Instagram, even if they follow us, we don't own that audience. The closest thing to owning that audience that we have is here in Audiences. We can create a custom audience of all of our Instagram engagers of the last 365 days, right? So this is the closest that we have to our owned audience, is that we can retargeting, but we have to pay again to reach them. Versus in a school community, right? We can DM them at any point in time. We can send a push post email every 72 hours. Here you can see 44 comments, right? Pretty cool. So we can reach them at any point in time, and this comes at no additional cost, which is also why I really, really like it. And again, you have all of the options. The key is that you pick the one that's most efficient for you, and then you're really gonna apply your focus to that and work it really hard until you are in a position where you can then, afford to get more help and basically buy some of your time back to focus on the next thing. But start building like those closed systems instead of trying to do all of the strategies at once. All right, so let's see. Did we have any more questions, or are we through for today? Was this helpful? Do you have any questions? Okay, tomorrow what we have on the plate is we will look into sales conversations, right? So this is an extension of what I just showed today with the Instagram traffic campaign. And it basically dives deeper into that funnel, which is particularly well suited for high ticket. And then we're going to do a quick recap about these campaigns that are in there right now. And we're going to see how you can define what's the best next step for you. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing you there. Thank you so much, everyone, for having been on with me. Bye for now.